I'm going to start by asking our panelists one by one to introduce themselves. I'm going to go round as I look at my screen. I'm going to start with Morgana. Could you give us a quick introduction to yourself?
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Morgana Summers. I am the International Director of Global Development with Paxton and also the current FIDI 39 Club President. I am located servicing the Washington, D.C. area in the U.S.
Lovely. Thanks, Morgana. Okay, Luis.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luis Holst. I'm the Mobility Manager for Mudanzas Mundiales, located in San Jose, Costa Rica. We also have a branch in Nicaragua, and I'm currently LACMANEX President for LACMA.
Fantastic. Okay, Jackie, if you could just introduce yourself next.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Jackie Stauffer with JK Moving, Director of International Services, and I am based in Washington, D.C., and also a member of the 39 Club Board with Morgana.
Lovely. Thank you, Jackie. And then we'll move on to Daniel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel. I'm the Client Services Director at Ocean. Ocean is a family-owned business, and I'm third generation in the company. We are based in Israel.
Lovely. Okay, so to kick us off, I'm going to go in the same order we've just been in, and I'm going to ask each of the panelists to give me just a summary of what this means to them, the whole idea of young people getting involved in shaping moving businesses of the future. In what ways, Morgana, how would you summarize young people's role in the future of moving?
Sure. I think we're definitely the future, obviously. I think we're going to be really engaging the workforce, definitely focusing on technology, whether that's virtual services, social media, remote work. But that's where I think that we're going, is really developing the technology in our industry.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Luis, your summary of this theme?
Yes, thank you, Nick. I think that digitalization and, like Morgana said, technology are very, very important and are major impacts for the young movers that can help transforming our business. Digital files and softwares are very important right now.
Okay, Luis, thank you very much for that. Jackie, give us your thoughts.
Sure. I agree with Morgana and Luis. Technology, I think, is the main driver for our generation, primarily just how we will influence how communication is handled in the industry going forward.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And Daniel.
For us, it was a lot about succession. So with COVID-19, I was put into a position where I needed to step up and step into a new leadership role with, and that accelerated the timing of succession.
Okay, great, Daniel. Thank you very much. Now let's kick off with that theme of succession. I think this sets the scene very, very nicely. Obviously, the position the age bracket you all occupy means you're going to be next up to the fore in terms of shaping businesses. How do companies best put a succession plan in place? Could I have your thoughts? Daniel, could we just stay with you for this?
Yeah. So is there an echo?
Not for me.
Okay. So, I think that COVID-19 gave me the opportunity to put my views and my ideas as the next generation in this company. And I think that being part of a younger generation, I had the ability to come up with a quick and agile change, which are required in this environment that is uncertain and unstable. For a company that has done something successfully for such a long period of time, this difficulty of change requires the ability to think things with a different viewpoint. So I think that for younger generation, it's easier to enact the change, which has become kind of our day-to-day life.
Okay. Could I go to Morgana next? Could you expand on that in terms of succession? What do companies need to be thinking about with regards to engaging their young workforce?
Yeah, I mean, I think Daniel, is really right in, the young professionals' ability for adaptability, to change, to kind of move quickly, to have already been perhaps pushing some of the digitalization that made us more able to cope with COVID-19. I think that is absolutely important, and is where we're going to be going now. I think that, sorry to say, but perhaps some things in COVID-19 are going to make some jobs obsolete that were once prominent in the moving industry. So I think that's something to watch out for, and seeing how, young professionals may be able to come up with creative solutions to maybe change or incorporate those jobs into other jobs. So I think that's something to look out for too, how, the roles will shift as far as just every job across the board, and how they'll be done.
Okay, thank you for that. Lewis, I know you've implemented some innovative new solutions in your company already. Is that something that was driven from within and from the younger players, do you feel?
Yeah, definitely. For example, Mudanzas Mundiales, we were not used to have people working from home, but with this situation, we found out that we were getting ready without even knowing it. We did a huge investment in technology, such as software and hardware. And in the past months, we gave laptops to more than 90% of the company. This way, we only needed to adopt some communication ways in order to be as productive as we were used to, or even more. Also with this pandemic, it is very important to know which companies can adapt and which companies will struggle. And with these changes, we are FIDI members, and we need to show our customers how we adapted positively to the situation. And for example, virtual surveys are a perfect example, right?
Okay, thank you. Jackie, can we just take your thoughts on this idea of succession in companies?
I think, if anything, the COVID-19 crisis has really highlighted the need for succession plans in companies. I mean, in a job market where you were forced to cut staff in order to survive, by not having a succession plan in place, you sort of opened yourself up to a lot of vulnerabilities as far as who could fill roles that had been vacated. And it was a struggle for some companies.
Okay. Thanks very much for that. Can I just ask a question with regards to succession planning? If we all know it's quite difficult to retain staff in certain areas, that's a problem which is sort of ongoing in this industry. How do you put a sound succession plan in place, but still accounting for this churn that you might have in staff? Could I just take a hand on that? We'll just take one or two thoughts. Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for me, I mean, personally, this whole situation made me realize that I want to continue working in this industry, and actually I want to step up and take this role. I find that there are opportunities coming up, and you never have time to really restructure everything, and this extreme situation really enforces us to do this. So I think that we as a company did not have any plan that was written down of how it's going to happen, but just reality made it happen. And I think that people in our company were very happy to hear that somebody wants to lead this company for in the future, and is very positive about how the future can look like, and create new excitement and new dynamic that is very positive during this very uncertain time. So sometimes, I mean, we don't necessarily have to have the whole plan, but there are circumstances that can help bring this forward. So that was the case in our company, and really a huge opportunity for us to reimagine how we do things, the type of workforce we have in the company, how did we deliver services and so on, how to cut costs, who do we want to partner with. So a big positive change.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to hear such a positive outlook on the situation. And it sounds as though COVID-19 in lots of ways has opened up the possibility of engaging younger people, and perhaps that will lead to we're better able to retain people in the industry that way. Morgana, did I see a hand from you there?
Yeah, I actually wanted to chime in on that too. I think it has definitely been a struggle to engage and to retain staff of our generation and the generation after us. I think it's a little bit different where, people want to now have quicker opportunities. They want to have more opportunity to travel. They want to have a better work-life balance. They want to do something that's flashy and exciting and that's going to change the world. And, none of us here, for the most part, go to university to study international logistics. Some of us are born into it, some of us fall into it. And I think when people fall into it, sometimes they fall in love with it. But I think the only time that happens is when they really are engaged in the international community and they feel like they're making a change to the industry. And I think that COVID-19 is really going to open that path and give young people a seat at the table because of the shifting that's going to be needed in our industry. So I do see it as a positive, just like Daniel was saying, for sure.
Great stuff. Thanks, Morgana. Jackie.
And just to kind of build on what Morgana said, I think for the younger generation, in general, I think we're all pretty ambitious, and being able to have a clear line of sight at your company of what, if you enter at, a coordinator in the company, what you can move on into, and having that pathway laid out for you makes you much more likely to stay. So I think it's a huge part in retaining talent.
Yeah, okay, that's a very good point. Thank you. Lewis, I saw your hand there.
Yeah, thank you. Adding to what the other panelists just said, it's really important for us in the industry to recruit young professionals as besides the succession plan. And we need to offer them to be happy at the companies, to be comfortable, to have challenges, to have a nice place to work and nice ideas, and all the tools that we can use to have advantage in learning, such as FIDI, the FIDI 39 Club, the LACMAN X. There are really important tools that we can use in order to be more comfortable in this industry and to learn. Like Morgana said, there's no university for the moving industry. So that's part of the tools that we can use in order to be stronger in the younger generations.
Okay, fantastic. Now, staying with tools, I'm going to move on to technology. So we've already touched on sort of innovative solutions that companies have employed to deal with COVID-19. Can you give us some more examples of the way technology has helped you to start transforming your businesses since this crisis started? Lewis, let's stay with you, because I know this is a particular passion of yours.
Yeah, thank you. We have 5 years already in Mudanzas Mundiales working with physical files, almost 10 years having a software for the moving industry, and trying to be eco-friendly as much as we can and digitalizing the 100% of our files. Having them in a software for the moving industry, that made our life easier. When we started working from home, I cannot imagine every move coordinator or every salesperson taking 30 to 40 files to their respective home. You would need a small truck to bring them to their house. The tracking makes it way easier. Documentation is printless, and many other advantages, such as information on hand. As a friend would say, and I love this term, easy, simple, and just in time. So it's part of the digitalization process that we've been working on for past years already, and works very good for us.
Okay. Now I'm going to take just a question that has just popped up during Lewis's part there. Could we have one of the panel answer what currently available technology do you believe has had the largest impact on changing the industry. Can we go? Let's Jackie.
I think the creation of virtual surveys and some of the platforms that have been developed in the past few years have played a huge part in handling this crisis. I mean, nobody wants a person in their home in the past few months, but using a platform like Yumbo, which is what JK uses, it's seamless. We didn't miss a beat, and the complexity of that specific tool didn't exist a few years ago.
Yeah.
So having that.
Sorry, has COVID-19 sped up this process for you then?
Yes,
You think you're going to be using this far more? I remember running the story in FIDI Focus magazine, and it's now something, it's not new, it's going to be central to your offer.
Right, I mean, 75% of our surveys now are done through Yumbo. We do still offer the in-house survey right now, but again, it's a matter of safety and also convenience for people. I mean, I think we're just going to see it more and more that they prefer the virtual survey.
Yeah.
But it's really, COVID-19 has played a part in really expediting the use of it within our own sales force.
Okay, lovely. Now I can see Morgana and Daniel both nodding, so I'm going to go to Morgana first. Could you?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree on the virtual survey. You know, I think from my observation being in this industry for the past 15 years, when new technology comes out, most of the industry already has a, oh my God, no, what about X, Y, and Z? We got to wait, we got to see this, because we're so used to doing things. I think the virtual survey was one that was really met with resistance initially, because it's been somebody's job to go out to people's homes, and there's a form of comfort there. And we have had to do virtual surveys in a quicker time. We've had to do access checks too, you know, looking at Google Earth and those sort of things that didn't even exist, you know, 10 years ago, and really mapping out your route, how you're going to get somewhere, and making sure that you can get a container in there. So that's vital. And I do think that virtual services are going to go further. I think that this is just the beginning, or virtual or personless services. At Paxton, we're actually currently developing a possible, you know, virtual pack and load or delivery where somebody may not have to be present. You know, that's the conventional way. That's the way that we've always done it, where you have to have a responsible party there, whether it's the shipper, their spouse, somebody that they delegate. But with the use of technology and video technology, is it possible to start doing those services when somebody doesn't actually have to be there? Could they be in China on a business trip outside of COVID? You know, what are the liabilities there? So something that we're starting to explore, and I think that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg as to where virtual services will go.
Can you see these virtual services? Is there going to be a tipping point where they form the lion's share of what you do, as opposed to the in-person services?
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. As far as, you know, kind of looking into the Jetsons kind of lifestyle, where, you know, things like Amazon are looking at drone deliveries and drone pickups and driverless trucks. And, you know, that is the future, whether it's 10 years from now, exacerbated because of a pandemic that happens, or it's 20 years from now, is the question. But I do definitely think that, you know, there is going to be a lot less person-to-person contact with moving in the next few decades, for sure.
Okay, lovely. Thank you for that, Morgana. Daniel, do you have something you want to add? I could see you nod.
I think everyone said, you know, captured it very right. But one of the things that I wanted to mention is that, you know, you don't necessarily have to have a specific platform that you need to pay for in order to do virtual surveys. I mean, you know, one of the things that I'm trying to do is how can we cut costs as much as possible? I mean, and we as a company, we use Zoom, and I mean, like, you know, what we are using today. And I think that technology should be very accessible to everyone. I mean, any company. You don't have to think for, you know, 3 months, you know, investigating which platform to use. You can just start using whatever is, you know, free online, and practice this new form of, you know, doing the surveys. And also, I mean, being a company that don't necessarily focus on international shipping, we provide, you know, a lot of other services as well. That really gave us a different, just different engagement with the client. I mean, to get to know him better and their needs, not just necessarily related to shipping. So definitely something that I was, you know, waiting for a long period of time, and employees are less resistant, you know, to use this, because now it's mandatory and it's part of, you know, it's a fact that, you know, so yeah.
That's an interesting point, that you don't necessarily need a bespoke platform. You have your video conferencing, and that's something that people are perhaps going to be comfortable with, at least in the beginning when you introduce these things.
Exactly.
Great. Okay. I'm going to move rapidly on to flexible working. Obviously, technology has a large part to play in this. We've all had multiple Zoom calls in the last weeks. Is this something which you find, you know, hand in hand with the technology? Are we going to find office-based staff no longer calling the office their main place of work? I'll take a hand. Who's going to go first on that? Morgana.
This is absolutely a subject I'm pretty passionate on. I've been a remote worker myself for at least 5 years now. I'm in a family. We've got a young child. Both my husband and myself work. So flexible working, remote working, to me is an absolute must for my lifestyle. And I feel like having that ability makes me both a better parent and wife, as well as a better employee, because I have that flexibility. Now that's really my feeling prior to COVID. It's been interesting to watch the rest of our staff working remotely and seeing how that works. And I have to say, it's been pretty seamless. I mean, like Luis said, we had a lot of these things already set up, already done virtually. It's been pretty easy to adjust. So I think it's something that companies have to look at as it being a must, and take example from, I mean, like we see in the US, a lot of the Silicon Valley, the big companies out there, Facebook or Google, for example, have said that they're only going to let back 20% of their workforce into their offices. And what's that going to do to our industry? Is it going to cut costs, reduce assets, you know, savings that we could possibly pass on to our customers or to invest into technologies? I think it's definitely going to be interesting, especially because we are a lot of family-owned businesses and we've been a lot of brick and mortar in the past. So I think there will be a shift if our industry does trend towards the flexible remote working.
Okay, lovely. Luis.
Yes, I think it is how we can adapt, and if we're flexible and if the people is willing to cooperate, and the company is giving the tools for everyone to be at their own home and working from home, it's really easy. And like I said, we were not used to it, but we were investing on it without even knowing it. And at the end, the transition by being pushed because of the COVID-19 situation made us realize that we were really ready for it, and we just need to adapt some communication ways in order to keep the business going on.
Jackie?
And I think another spin on the whole work from home flexibility that we've all experienced in the past few months, I mean, it's not only work from home, it's also flexibility in hours. I mean, with people being in their homes, with their families there has had to be some flexibility in when you can be on and when you're, you know, teaching your children their school class for the day right now. Mm-hmm. But I think that in the future, I mean, it might even take on a spin that we don't have normal 8 to 5 days. We're in a global industry, and that means being available on many of the time zones. So the flexibility to sort of break up a day even maybe in the future, if you are already home, and be able to actually cover everything that you need to, is an option that might come up in the future.
So you could work 6 mornings a week and have the rest of the time. Oh yes, yeah. For example. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. Now I'm just going to the poll, which you can still answer. This is about what are the main areas in which the younger generation can help transform the moving industry. So technology is the top. I don't know if that's because that's what we've just been discussing just now. That's 78%, and then flexible and remote working at 59%, and then social media at 46%, which is an interesting one to be so high up the list, I think. Could I go? I'm going to jump back to Morgana because I know social media is an area you're keen to speak about. how can businesses harness their young employees to make the best of this tool, and how?
Yeah, I think social media has definitely been interesting to develop and kind of watch it be a very personal thing to really being a not personal thing at all. If you look at your own social media account, I know on Facebook, I'm friends with people that I knew when I was 10, and I'm friends with people that I know now. So, I mean, it's just an interesting array that's out there. We at the 39 Club have definitely seen it as a benefit to our members. We've tried really to be a lot more engaged in the last 2 years on both Facebook and Instagram. We've even offered some yoga classes recently. We're going to be doing a virtual cooking class this weekend, and more fun things to come. So I think it's really a platform to keep, you know, your audience engaged. And if that is on a personal level, if that's on a business level, keeping your customers engaged, knowing that you're there, them remembering that you're there and you can help out. I think it's a powerful tool. And I do kind of find myself thinking, what about if we went through this pandemic in 1918 with the Spanish flu and there was no social media and there was barely telephone?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think it is a way to definitely feel connected and feel more normal. And I don't see that going away anytime soon.
Is this mainly a tool to engage employees, staff, or is it something that we can use to reach out to potential customers as well?
Yeah, I think
Jackie?
everything.
I mean, from my perspective, I would think it's used more externally facing than internal. It's used we use it a lot in marketing at JK. I mean, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of them. It's really a way to generate business for the company. And I mean, there is internal use, but I think the bulk of it, I would say, is definitely to attract new business. And just like 39 Club, we use it to attract new members to the club.
Okay. Luis, let's go to you.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You know, and for Lachman X, it has been a powerful tool to have WhatsApp in order to bring the whole team as a group and communicate and share information, share also different videos of learning. And also in Mudanzas Mundiales, we have all the platforms, Instagram, Facebook. That way we can be on the top of mind of our customers and of our agents as well. This way we can show them what we're doing, what we have, what we can offer, that we are a DSP, that we have storage, all of our different products in order to post them on the social media. And it's really important to be on them right now.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Luis. Daniel, let's finish this section with you.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with everyone. I mean, social media used, you know, as a way to engage with customers, and especially now in Israel, since there is a strict, you know, basically an arrival ban, we see more and more repatriation. So more and more individuals acting on their desire to be home during this difficult time. And since Israel has implemented very strict regulations from the start, people around, I mean, Israelis around the world wanted to know, what is Israel doing? How do we exactly change in this new environment? And we're acting the same in their own country. And they were starting to, you know, they use, you know, relocation company as a platform to consult with. So definitely that brought us a lot of opportunities at a time where companies and big accounts are putting things on hold. So suddenly, I mean, we got more business from private individuals, which is for us was you know, very, very important, you know, cash flow and everything.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much for that, Daniel. I am going to look very, very briefly at we've got about 25 minutes left, so I'm going to go to diversity. Now, with flexible working, with the use of technology, is this a way companies can encourage more diversity in their businesses? Does anyone have anything to Jackie?
I think this kind of also just goes hand in hand with the younger generation, and we are a lot more mobile right now. You have people trying to go work in other countries and make a life there. I mean, I'm the only American on my team at JK. And so we're, I mean, about as diverse as you could be. We have people from Asia, Latin America, Europe. And I think that's only going to be an increasing trend going forward.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Does anyone have anything to add to that? Morgana?
Yeah, I mean, as technology enhances, we're hoping that the world will continue to become smaller, so we will have more diversity. You know, something that we've been focusing on in the 39 Club is really the female leadership and changes that we've been seeing in our industry. We have some pieces coming out in the IAM portal and the FIDI focus that will kind of touch on that. But I think it is interesting to see how these all connect to each other. You know, a work-life balance with, you know, two people being able to work in the home. Does that mean that more females will be able to be in leadership roles because they are able to balance their time? You know, that is just an interesting perspective. At Paxton, we've already had employees that are female as a big driving force, especially with Packers. We've had a lot of female Packers that have had a lot of success in a predominantly male role. Not to exclude Lewis or Daniel or you, Dominic, at all, but it's just kind of a topic that's coming up because it has changed in our industry, and it is interesting to look at how that is changing.
Great. Good news. Lewis, final word on that?
Definitely, and I think that it's important to have everyone involved at the end, and female leadership. It's incredible to have this power growing in our industry, and to have so many leaders that want to step up into our industry. And like Morgana said, we have in Mudanzas Mundiales female Packers as well that are willing to help us in the most important things that you have to be delicate. And this brings such a value to our customers because they are really worried about if you can break a plate or you can break this tiny little thing that is really valuable for you. So this way, diversity helps a lot to grow as a company and to try to spread all around the different groups that can get involved and can bring new ideas in order to step up.
And do we feel as a panel, do we feel that it's the younger generation who is driving this sort of broadening of the staff, of the outlook, and broadening companies' outlook on diversity? Luis?
Yeah, definitely. As young leaders, that's how we can push. And in that part and in technology, we are the ones that need to raise our hands and say, listen, let's invest in this area, or let's go and try to jump in this other area in order to be more flexible and to be more on what's going on. And like I said before, FIDI companies can show their adaptability in order to bring new leaders, or to bring new technology, or to bring new ideas in order to step up and do our jobs and do it the best way possible.
Yeah. Okay, Jackie?
Just to add on to that a little bit, I mean, I think the younger generation has a much wider outlook on the world, and that's directly because of the technology we've had access to. So being a company that promotes diversity and that you can see before you go work there, this is a company that, you know, I'm going to get to experience a lot. That plays a huge part in attracting young talent. I mean, look at this panel. We're covering most of the globe here. So, I mean, there's no doubt that it's a key factor with the younger generation driving it.
Fantastic. Could we just have a word on the environment? This is something, Morgana, we all caught up last week, didn't we? And I asked about the environment and what the young people of today are going to bring with regards to sort of getting companies operating in a green manner. Could you just tell us your thoughts on that, Morgana?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I definitely think the young professionals are trying to lead that, trying to drive our industry to be more sustainable. we have already created what's called the Global Green Initiative, the GGI, which is a coalition between FIDI 39, LACMANX, and IAMYP to really try to see how we can influence change in our industry. You know, it's a slow process, but I think that we've already made some progress in just raising awareness. It is interesting on an individual level as far as businesses go, what the environmental decisions are. You know, whether that is cost, whether it is requirements for your customers, it's interesting to kind of see that. But, you know, FIDI 39 Club are also looking forward to hopefully having our conference in Japan next year and actually focusing on sustainability as far as the environment and as far as a company with succession planning. I think that, you know, Daniel hit the nail on the head that there are things that, you know, for succession and for sustainability that you may not be predicting. So I think it's interesting to explore both of those topics.
Do we think the environment is going to take a bit of a backseat while for the next 2 or 3 years where companies are going to be so focused on survival? Do we think it may take a bit of a backseat for a while?
I think it's going to be if it makes sense personally to the company itself.
Yeah. Okay, Jackie?
I mean, I think the environment is coming to the forefront more and more amongst everybody these days. And on that same line of companies needing to survive, they need to do anything they can to attract business. And I think playing up what they do for the environment and bringing in that portion of business is going to play a big role.
Lovely, thank you for that thought. Now I'm going to ask you all one more question before we move to the Q&A from the audience. If we want companies to take the best advantage of the younger generation, how do they encourage that? How do they bring that talent through, and how do they do it now for the benefit of their companies? Let's go to Daniel. We were talking to you about succession earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, can you just repeat the last sentence of your question so to make sure I'm focused on what you asked?
Well, really, I was asking how should companies best make use of their young people and bring their talents to the fore in these areas we've discussed?
Yeah, so I mean, everything is really changing on a daily basis, and the only thing that we know for sure is what we are all experiencing right now. And as I said in the beginning, I think that young generation has a lot to provide in terms of, you know, acting in the period of change. So I mean, me myself as a manager in this company, you know, would like to hear more what young employees has to say about the current situation and how can each one of them help the company grow and get stronger, so we can all, you know, get through this crisis stronger and better. And I expect anyone in our company, even if they are doing a very, you know, maybe even, you know, customer service role or operational role, to think about cost and sales opportunities, business development opportunities for a company. And people are, you know, willing to do this, and they are very much engaged with the fact that, you know, we are all here in the same boat, and we want to make things work, and we want the company to get stronger. So I think really it was we pretend, I don't know, maybe we dismissed, you know, the younger generation voice in our company, and I think that now it was an opportunity for us to change that.
Lovely, thank you for that. Those thoughts, Daniel. Does anyone have anything to add to that, Luis?
Yes, I think that flexibility and challenges are major impacts that can bring young professionals to get involved in this industry, and in every industry particularly. That flexibility gives you that way that the younger professionals can adapt to what they are focused on, and if they have to work from home, they could. But if they have to be at the office in order to have certain KPIs, they could. and also challenges to bring the availability to let them know that they have the opportunity to be leaders inside the company and to make decisions and to be part of it. I think that's part of the most important things that the industry can give to the younger people for them to get more involved every day.
Okay, lovely. Chiaki?
I think in general, just opening up opportunities within the company for the younger generation's voice to be heard. I mean, within JK, we created basically like an advisory board of people specifically from a younger generation to come up with new ideas to feed to our executive board. And it's been really successful. And it's a group that represents the rest of the teams that have not had a voice before. So just exposing younger people to that kind of opportunity and giving them a chance to actually speak up and tell you what they think is best for the company. I mean, it makes them feel included, and it's actually brought a lot of good changes for us.
And has that advisory board been active in preparing the company post-COVID?
We actually are just talking about the newest project we're doing now, but
okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We've definitely taken a look at using more technology going forward and how we can better use technology to relate to our customers specifically.
Right, lovely, thank you. Morgana?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody nailed it. Engagement absolutely is number one. I think for me personally, if I think back to my journey as a young professional in our industry, the sense of community has really kept me engaged in the industry, and those opportunities to be part of 39 Club or to be part of the young professionals, and to go to conferences and to meet all of you guys in person and to have a drink together and have a laugh and bond and know that you're not just an X on the other side of my emails. You're real people that we connect with. I think that's something that's really important in engaging the young professionals and giving them a sense of actual community. And we talked about that in 39 Club, and we actually developed a scholarship 2 years ago that is open to anybody that's under 39 at any FIDI company to apply, to give them the opportunity to come to the conference and experience that. I know for me, it has been a journey of, having to prove yourself and, kind of getting to those places where you are allowed those opportunities and then you cherish them. But I do think about, others in the industry that don't have that, and how special would it be if we can give that to more people in our industry.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Morgana. Okay, we are going to take 10 minutes to answer some questions which have been submitted while we've been talking. We've had some questions from the audience. I'm just going to go through the poll results. So again, the up-to-date results of that poll. Which area do you think young people will best help transform moving and relocation businesses in the immediate future after coronavirus? So technology, 80% of people say technology. That's a key area. Flexible remote working, that's at 59%, and then closely followed by social media. So there's no change there in the order. That was an interesting poll. Okay, now this question is specifically for Daniel, but we can take I'll ask it to Daniel first, but I think we can take a sort of context and we can take a view from everyone in this. Daniel, how did the older generation react to the changes, and how did they adapt to it? This is suddenly you've got a young person driving the business. Was there any resistance?
I mean, I think that, personally for my father, it was very good news to hear that I'm interested to continue what he has built for the past 30 plus years. And I think he was, welcoming me and my ideas, as, in the end, he would like the company to go on. And if I think that things should be done differently, or our focus should be different, then now it's the time for me to say things and use this opportunity to change you know, things. So I mean, in our company, it was very positive. Of course, there are challenges, and of course, you know, it cannot be you know, sharp changes, but overall it was very positive. And yeah, I mean, you know, you just said that technology will be the biggest, I don't know, important thing of this COVID, but I'm more concerned about all of our companies, you know, continuing and surviving after this crisis. And do we need so many companies, you know, providing those services? I mean, so, and this is, you know, one of the things that was most, I was most concerned about. I mean, in our market, but looking in other markets as well. And I'm very, I was very happy that, you know, that today I feel part of an association and part of a club where I can actually feel, you know, what Morgana was saying about community and you know, addressing those issues and challenges with other people that are in the same situation. So I'm very happy, you know, that, you know, FIDI is here to support us.
That's good. So you found the process. Yeah. The older generation, if you like, have sort of welcomed the changes and the new outlook on things. Okay, Jackie.
I think whenever you change a process within a company or how something's done, you're bound to be met with some resistance. And a lot of that likely is age driven. Someone from this generation is used to using a paper file. They don't want to put everything in a computer. I mean, that's a common problem that I think most companies have run into that have made that transition. But having younger people on the staff that could help with this transition from using Teams maybe once in a while to as a primary tool to carry out your work every day, having people that can teach an older generation that and sort of make sure everything is flowing smoothly with all of these new technologies that have been thrown at them. I think that's vital to any company surviving right now.
Okay, that's great. Lewis, you have something to add?
In my experience, having the owners of the company so willing to push for technology, to implement new ideas, to have new softwares, to build in this area particularly, has been very satisfying, because that way these new ideas that the younger generations can bring up need those support of the older generations in order to make them happen. And that way we can grow as a company and we can adapt to the new technologies and to the new trends. And it has been a very good experience to have that support in order to keep growing in this particular area. Okay.
How about you, Morgana? What's been your experience of introducing new you know, new things to the business?
I mean, I think I do agree with Jackie that I think for the most part, no matter if it's our industry or not, if people are used to doing something a certain way, you can absolutely be met with a challenge when you try to change that. For us, when we have introduced new technology, we've actually taken one of our more senior staff members and had them learn the system first and have them be the advocate to then teach it to others on our staff. And we've seen that as a really good positive. You know, somebody that has been doing the job for 40 years and they've been doing it X, now they're happy with doing it Y, and they're going to show you how to do it Y, and they're going to show you how efficient it is and how much time it saves them. But, you know, I don't think that that's something, I think that's kind of human nature. You know, if you're used to doing something a certain way, you know, it is initially difficult to change, but I think when people see that that change is efficient, it's cost effective, it makes your lives easier, then they'll be willing to get on board eventually.
Yeah, and I guess what the current crisis has done is it's forced people into a position to see those benefits, you know, straight away.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to ask. We have a question here that says, research over the last 50 years has shown that each new generation's hopes and ambitions are essentially the same as the generation before. So what will this particular generation of young people in the industry, what will they need to do to stand out and to ensure the sustainability of our industry and its relevance within global mobility overall? That's a big question to wrap up with. Any thoughts on that? How do you make yourself stand out as a generation? Morgana.
That's a great question. That's complex. Whoever that is trying to stump us, I feel. No, but I think it's a really good question. And funny that you say that. When Freddie is, my boss, Paxton, and he was on the, Young Professional 39 Club board. That's how he started out in his career. And I remember coming to him with this really excited idea that we're doing this global green initiative and we've all gotten together and we're going to change the environment. He's like, oh yeah, we did that about 20 years ago too. Check with the FIDI office and see where it went. So it is interesting to know that, there is history there and people are going to have tried things. I think the old saying is, if you don't learn about history, you're never going to know if you're going to repeat it. So I think that's just something in general in human nature that, sure, people have come before us and have tried and have not succeeded or maybe have succeeded. But if we don't keep trying as a generation, we're never going to get anywhere.
Lovely. Okay, Jackie, some further thoughts on that?
I think our generation in particular has been bombarded with newer and faster technology, and the customers that we deal with are not the same as the customers from the previous generations. I mean, the expectation to know an hour after their shipment has departed, like where it is in the ocean, that kind of mentality is new. So I think it's up to us to really kind of collect all of these different technologies we have access to and streamline it in a way that is going to give the customer the best experience possible. So sort of take all of these different things floating around out there and say, here, we've collected all of this for you. This is all the information you need, and just kind of making it easier.
There's a lot of data, a lot of stuff out there, isn't there? So it's condensing that. And you're right, things are a lot faster. They move a lot faster than they did 50 years ago. So very good point. Lewis or Daniel? Lewis.
Yeah, it's a very nice combination of what Morgana and Jackie just said. In order to achieve excellence, you need that history and know about the past trends and get a little involved in the new technology and in the new trends in order to give that you can adapt to the customer, because there might be some customers that need that flexibility, and you need to be a little more patient and a little more educate them and let them know everything. And there are some others that might need just a simple, easy, just in time, give me the information I want to be on one step ahead. So it's that combination in order to achieve excellence in the global mobility to give the customers what they need.
Okay, lovely, thank you. And Daniel, a thought from you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that most of our companies are focused on business to business, and I think that our generation will have to think more business to customers and how to allow different access to the knowledge and services that we provide. And we've seen that change in our market, and sometimes we're unable to deliver similar services as elsewhere, in the world, because other companies don't necessarily work like we do. So I think that, future will stay, but I think that focusing on the customers and selling to direct consumers, that will be one of the main things that our generation will deal with. And part of this is because of what Jackie and Morgana and Luis just have mentioned about how we consume services and how we are used to do things in the world.
That's great. Okay, now I think that the four of you have agreed to stay on for 5 or 10 minutes and answer some of the remaining questions. We have 3 or 4. Is that still okay? Okay, that's lovely. Now I'm going to finish with one which I think is quite nice to close. and that is if moving relocation, they want to recruit and attract young talent from outside. What are we selling to them? What is unique and attractive about this industry? Let's just have a quick thought from each one of you to close. Daniel, let's stay with you.
Okay. I mean, I'm passionate about this industry, so it's usually quite easy for me to explain the advantages. But I mean, we are global. We're small to medium size. Most of us companies based somewhere in the world, but are truly global companies. Waking up with one area of the world and going to sleep with another area, serving people from all around the world. And for someone who is interested in that global environment, it's a very challenging and exciting opportunity. And I think people looking for those global opportunities, people that have backgrounds in different areas, not necessarily technology, and I think this global element is still a major point for us.
Okay, Jackie, final thoughts. How do we attract the next generation to this industry?
I think Daniel definitely covered part of it with really promoting the global outlook that this industry has. And I think the relationships, as Morgana has said previously, are huge. Just to know that every day you'll be in contact with people from any given country across the world is something that I really liked the idea of, and it's kept me here. I mean, making all these connections and being exposed to all the cultures on a daily basis isn't something that you get in a lot of other jobs. So I think that's a key piece in attracting new talent to the industry.
Fantastic. Okay, Lewis, a final thought from you on attracting young people into this industry?
Yeah, I think that it's really important to have this kind of attractive leadership roles in order to get people involved, and also the community. Daniel, Morgana, and Jackie have been talking about it, and it's really what keeps you motivated in order to learn from global leaders in the industry and learn from the top of the industry, to have these global opportunities to communicate and to learn. It's part of the importance. And obviously I love to add the technology advantages. If you have the technology involved and you have these opportunities in order to implement in your company and to give the opportunity to a young professional, that's something that will motivate them and to bring them to join you in this particular industry.
Lewis, thank you very much. Morgana?
I think my colleagues all hit it, nail on the head with how to attract people. I think it's more about how to keep people. I think we do look glamorous from the outside, but you know what? When you get in our industry, it's seasonal. It's hard work. We all work hard, if that's passion, if that's demand, whatever that is. So I think that we have to really promote a work hard, play hard, give people opportunity for progression, give them opportunity for travel and a sense of community. And I think that's how we'll keep the young professionals engaged and wanting to be part of our industry.
That's a great point to finish on, Morgana. Thank you very much for that. So I'm going to conclude the session now. So COVID-19 has obviously, it's brought forward this sort of urgency for companies to bring on the kind of skills and the kind of technologies and the agility that the younger generation can help them with. It also seems like it's going to be a way that they can also engage people, young people, and hopefully retain them for longer as well, and attract people from outside, because as you've been saying, it's an international industry. There's lots of social it's virtual social contact at the moment, but there are lots of opportunities to meet people and interact with people, and I think it's got a lot of things going for it. but companies have to make proper succession plans, and they have to do things like the advisory board that Jackie you mentioned. You know, make a real effort to engage your young workforce and really, you know, engage them because it's going to benefit you as well as benefit your employees. So thank you very much. This session is going to be online, as the other two sessions are. The panel will be online for the next 5 or 10 minutes to answer I think there are remaining 3 or 4 questions. So they're going to do that. But thank you very much. Thank you, Morgana. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Jackie. And thank you, Daniel. That was a great session. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.